This is a foundational topics video for Microsoft Power BI. It is provided to the BhamQuants group. I am Nick Sanford. You can reach me at bhamquants@gmail.com. In this video, we're going to review the different types of Power that the Microsoft team has provided to us. We're going to look at the different types of Power BI, the pricing, and the functionality that those provide. Then we're going to look at other pieces of software that have Power in their name. First, I want to show this graphic on Power BI. I think it's a good example of a good layout of the different options. Power BI Desktop and Power BI Mobile are both free applications. The other Power BI applications are paid for. That's Power BI Pro, Premium, Embedded, and the Report Server. So Power BI Desktop is the most common version that you'll see. It is free, and it will allow you to publish your work to the web. But if you do publish to the web, it's going to be open source. Anyone at all will be able to see your work. And it's restricted to 10 gigabytes of storage. Now, if you're in a company and you still want to keep your data private, you can still do that. You can do that by taking your Power BI file, your PBIX file, and you can email it to your friend who can then open that and work with that same data. Now keep your data private. You can also use a template file, PBIT, which will have all of the data structures, but the person you email it to will have to pull the data fresh again. So BI Desktop is free. You can publish online, but it will be open to everyone. Power BI Pro is the most likely version that you'll want to use in a workforce setting. The price is $120 per year. It allows you to publish up to the cloud privately. Power BI Premium is a $0 per user, but you have to pay per node. And think of a node as a server. It's not exactly how it works, but that's the concept. And those nodes are provided in the Azure cloud by Microsoft. The lowest node price there is $5,000. Now there's a large amount of storage here, 100 terabytes, which may or may not be enough for your company. We can fix that in just a moment. Who would want to buy this? This is meant for large companies. For example, if you have 1,000 users of the software, this becomes an economical option. With the premium license, you also get a free report server license. And this is a on-premise license. That means that you have the physical hardware on your company, on your property, and that hardware can hold both data and reports for you. This is especially appealing to companies that have to deal with cross-country issues. Classically, GDPR is a major issue in Europe, and holding personal data in one country and storing it in another country and stuff like that. And that can be a problem when you get into cloud services. But if you're using Report Server, then you can store that data locally in your own company, and it kind of reduces some of your GDPR issues. Power BI Embedded is meant for mobile applications or other applications, I suppose. Its pricing ranges between $1 and $32 per hour, and it gives you the Power BI capabilities inside of your own applications. Now, your users will not see the look and the feel of Power BI. They will see only your application, but when they interact with it, you'll put a request into the Azure cloud, and in Azure, the analytics engine of Power BI will calculate whatever needs to be calculated and push it back to your app for that consumer to see. You can buy Power BI Embedded after you have purchased the Pro license. That's the $120 a year. Power BI Mobile is meant to go side by side with the desktop. So conceptually, you can both view and create reports on mobile, although the creation is going to be somewhat difficult. Interestingly, on the mobile side, you can use natural language queries. You can do that on the desktop, I believe, as well. But on the mobile side, natural language querying is very useful. You can also have it set up to create push notifications to you and get alerts about your live data. So, for example, if you hit a certain dollar sales threshold for the day, it would give you a push notification. Microsoft produces several other pieces of software with the name Power in their name. Let's review those now. Power Pivot is an Excel add-on, and it functions very similar to the Get Data functionality in Power BI. And so it pulls large amounts of data into a database within the Excel file. Now the importance here is that the Excel big grid has 1 million rows of data, but Power Query is not limited to that 1 million. So you won't be able to see this data very well because of the limitations on size, but you can interact with it with pivot tables and pivot charts. Power Query allows you to transform the data that you just brought in using the Power Pivot functionality. And Power Query is not a required step. So if you have very clean data in your warehouse, you can use Power Pivot and you're done. On the other hand, if you need to transform your data before you can use it, then you'll need to use Power Query. And it's important to say that the terminology Power Query has been deprecated, so you shouldn't hear that name anymore. Excel now uses the terms get and transform to refer to Power Query. And inside of Power BI, it's the entire external data set of functionalities would be the Power Query. Power Map is an Excel add-on and it is native to Power BI. It is another visualization capability or a chart. It gives you 3D mapping capabilities if you want 3D or 2D, whatever you want. So native to Power BI, you can add it into Excel. Power View is already activated in your Excel application, but you have to add it to the ribbon if you want to actually use it. And it's designed to give you some of the Power BI type of capabilities inside of Excel. It is Power BI in that application, so there's really no translation to it. Dashboards, Power Dashboards is more of a concept than anything else, and it's only in Power BI. And it's the idea of putting all of your visuals into a single place, and that's what the canvas does. And conceptually, it's what wraps everything together. You start with the pivot, you switch it to the query, maybe you bring in a map, maybe you don't, and all of that comes together on the canvas into a Power Dashboard. It's clear to me that the future of these Power applications for Microsoft is really the Power Platform. That's what they're moving towards. And this was introduced in late 2018. And what it is taking 3 separate applications and putting them together. They started off with the Power BI application, certainly. Then it incorporates Power Apps. Power Apps is an application for creating applications on desktop and mobile platforms. It's not meant to be an IT functionality. It's supposed to be an analytics capability, so it's not terribly complex to get into. It also adds in Microsoft Flow, and Flow is a system which allows you to control multiple applications from one central location. So you can go to Excel and do something, push that into Word, do something over there, and push it into another application. Flow allows you to connect all of those pieces together. So you can see the point of we're taking Power BI, Power Apps, and Flow, and we're connecting them all together. In October of 2019, Microsoft is scheduled to release Wave 2 of Power Platform, which will include an artificial intelligence builder as well. All of these applications are linked together on the Power Platform through what is known as Common Data Services, or CDS. That's simply the language you use to tap into each of the technologies. I think this is an excellent visual of what the Power Platform is. It's centered around the Azure Cloud Platform, and you have your 3 applications, Power Apps, Power BI, and Microsoft Flow, all centered around Azure that are running your application. And from there, it lays on top of the other Microsoft technologies, Microsoft Office or Dynamics or whatever else. You can tap into all of that stuff. Finally, I'll mention PowerShell. I hadn't seen very much of this, but then I saw a coworker recently with a certificate on PowerShell on their wall, so I decided to talk about it here. This is simply a task automation and configuration management software. It's a command prompt type of scripting language. It has absolutely nothing at all to do with business intelligence.